Drywall, insulation, siding, roofing, windows, interior doors, and more. They want to talk about improving your home inside and out. They want to talk about excellent customer service and a drive to serve you as best as they can. Keep the conversation going. Head to Fries Tallman today in Regina and Fort Capel. When planning your next building project, think Fries Tallman. Fries Tallman, let's get you building.
CoolBet has all the hot games. For all the free-to-play casino games, head to coolbet.co. They've got sports odds, including Saskatchewan senior hockey, plus all the sports odds you can think of. From the ice to the field to the court, CoolBet has you covered. All at your fingertips. No risk, just thrill. So why wait? Get in the game and embrace the unexpected at coolbet.co.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents the all-new Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Sask Lotteries, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery products fund over 12,000 sports, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. Be a part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936. 6262. The all-new Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
It is for Saskatchewan Lotteries on Tuesday. Welcome inside the Sports Cage. Barney Shinkaruk, Colson, Curtis. First hour, it's just a 3-pack. At 4 o'clock, Ryan Pollock will join us here in the cage. What do we got coming up in the next 3 hours for you? I want to know what people are thinking about the cross-check gate. I hate when everything's called gate. We got Connor McDavid, 3 games. Tyler Myers, 3 games. Do you agree with that out there? Curious what people are thinking. I know what I think. 936-6262 is always the way to engage with us and let us know what you're thinking. Dave Thomas is going to join us, voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, after the first break. We'll talk about everything that's going on in the CFL. Obviously, Andrew Harris coming on board yesterday with the Riders. What else does Dave know about pending free agents? What's the next ball that's going to drop? That's what I'm curious on. We're going to talk some lacrosse, National Lacrosse League. The Saskatchewan Rush back in action this weekend. We'll talk to voice of the Rush, Cody Janzen, later in Hour 1. Hour 2, Arash Madani stops in the SJHL report with Benny Walchuk. Hour 3, Glen Suitor in his regular segment here. Maybe Glen's got some inside info on the Andrew Harris running back coach with the Riders. Now, like I said, Ryan Pollock will be in Hour 2. A lot to get to. The Edmonton Oilers are playing the Washington Capitals tonight. Totally missed this one on the docket. And then I'm like, oh, that's too bad, I guess, that McDavid is in. And then everyone was kind of billing it as Ovechkin versus McDavid. Ovechkin's like 56 years old. He's just chasing a record at this point. Like, the Caps are good. The Caps are that sneaky good team right now. So it will be interesting how they match up against the McDavid-less Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers always play really good when McDavid's out of the lineup. So Draisaitl's going to, obviously carry more of the load and some of the guys there. Other Canadian teams in action tonight, Buffalo's in Vancouver. Montreal, sneaky good. Montreal Canadiens welcome the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Ottawa travels into Manhattan to take on the Rangers. SJHL news today. We have the SJHL report coming up in Hour 2 that Drew Kosher is taking over Estevan behind the bench after the departure of Jason Tatarnic yesterday. Kind of caught everyone off guard. In the SJ tonight, if you're in the Melville area, you get to go watch the hottest team in the SJHL, the Flin Flon Bombers, rolling. They're 19-0-1-1 in their last 21 games. That's an old-fashioned Flin Flon heater right there, like Bobby Clark days. Notre Dame's in Weyburn to take on the Red Wings. Humboldt will travel into Nipawin in the SJHL. Western Hockey League, our WHL reports always for extreme hockey here in Regina. The Regina Pats are back in action tonight. Tough one. They're in Medicine Hat to take on the Tigers. It's the Triangle of Death, as I'm calling it. Hopefully no one's offended by that. Medicine Hat's on a 6-game winning streak. How is that? 6-game winning streak down. Lethbridge, they're on a 7-game winning streak. But young, scrappy Regina Pats, the game's right here on 620 CKRM. Dante DeCaria and his bow tie have the pregame show starting at 7:30 p.m. Elsewhere, Brandon travels into Kelowna. Brandon's fighting and clawing for a playoff spot. If you're a Wheat Kings fan, you're keeping tabs on them. In Kelowna, they were sellers. So hopefully Brandon can grab a couple of points there. Vancouver is in Seattle, way out west. AAA midget, or U18, last night, Moose Jaw Warriors up in Saskatoon. They made that bus trip in minus 73-degree weather, and it was the Saskatoon Blazers, 5-3. That makes the standings in the AAA league more interesting, as if it wasn't already, because now Moose Jaw, they could have distanced themselves even further. They're still sitting atop the league, though, with 50 points. They've played 31 games. Regina Pat Canadians, 6 points behind them. 10 points behind are those Saskatoon Blazers, who won last night. Blazers have 4 games in hand on Moose Jaw. Pat Canadians have 3. And then the Swift Current Legionnaires are right there, 10 points back. And Swifties got 2 games in hand. The Patsies are in Swift tomorrow. AAA loop is getting really interesting. I can't remember how many games totally they play, though, in the year. If anyone knows out there, totally, what's the total regular season game count in the AAA league before we look into playoffs? It's got to be getting, I don't know, close, 10 games left a team? No games in the Junior B loop. Everybody's working. It is a working man's league or student league. Big game tomorrow. Forts at the Storm will be covering that. Curling in Kindersley. We touched on it yesterday. The Red Lion would absolutely be buzzing all week. And it started this morning. I'm calling it the Tandem. Is that okay? Can we just get away with calling it the Tandem, since the women and men are both playing in Kindersley? The 12 o'clock draw looks to be wrapped up now. Laycock with a win over, is it Edie? Dave's going to have to confirm on that. Kleider, it is Edie. 7-6 over Mosier. Thomas 6-2 over Jacobson. Kaltoff and Knapp are still on the ice on sheet number 2. If you're watching, they got a big streaming thing going on there. Earlier this morning on the women's side, McCartney 10-9 over Holland. Barker 6-2 win. Campbell was 9-4 on the win side over Inglot. And Selzer 8-7 over Martin. So we'll keep you updated here on the Tandem going on in Kindersley, Saskatchewan. Lots to get to. Let's take our first quick break here. Dave Thomas is standing by, and we're going to bring him in. We're going to talk all things Riders. It is the all-new Sportscage. We are streaming at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM.
620 CKRM is your home to country's greatest hits and the 90s at 9. 1 full hour featuring the biggest hits of the 90s. Garth, Reba, Alan, Shania, George, and so much more. No cassette tape or CDs required, and 90s mullets are optional. 90s at 9 for the town of Wolseley and the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM.
So, it's love?
Maybe.
Tell.
We met at the club. He's cute, hot dancer, fun, funny, whatever. But here's the thing.
What?
He tells me he likes being the designated driver because it's a great way to meet chicks.
And you believed him?
Drove me home. Sober. Did I mention he was cute?
Twice, actually. There are always options. Drinking and driving isn't one of them. A message from this station and the Brewers of Canada.
Nobody knows the equipment market like Ritchie Brothers. If you're selling heavy equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers will get you the most buyers, industry expertise, and the widest selection of custom selling solutions. Sell equipment your way, from your yard or a Ritchie Brothers facility. Ritchie Brothers will drive demand for your assets like no one else can. Contact your local territory manager today to get started. Visit rbauction.com to learn more about selling with Ritchie Brothers.
We want your business on board for the Harvard Media online auction. It's easy. All you've got to do is provide items like gift cards, experiences, services, or whatever cool product you have. And in exchange, we'll give you a world-class marketing campaign. No entry fee or cash outlay. Just a good old trade deal. That hammer could be coming down for you. Just hit up harvardmedia.com and join in on all the excitement. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the all-new Sports Cage. Connect with the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262.
It is for Saskatchewan Lotteries today. I don't know, did either of you guys watch any of the inauguration, everything that went on? I know Maz really wanted to go down that rabbit hole yesterday. I was actually excited about the Jason Aldean concert, which I didn't get to see. You didn't watch any of it?
No.
There was some funny stuff going on social media. The George Bush reaction, I don't know what George W. was doing, but he looked like he was having a great time. I don't know if he visited the Indiga factory right before, but he was loving it. There was some Mark Zuckerberg stuff that was pretty funny. Elon Musk looked like he definitely was hopped up on something. He was running around up there all weird like.
Yeah, while we were doing our B-roll collection at the start of the show, Curtis found a video of Theo Vaughn in the audience, and his chair breaks and he falls backwards into Logan Paul's lap.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've seen is just the funny stuff.
It's all you want to see.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
It's just a disaster. Then all this tariff talk.
Yeah.
People are losing their mind. I went down the rabbit hole last night. Big reading guy on the tariffs and kind of what it's not what I thought it was. And then, yeah, Trudeau today is talking about basically like we're prepared. $10 says you're not.
I think the tariffs are going to make that like $12, but yeah.
Hey, you're no one's scared of you. You're the guy that walks into the bar with a sweater tied around his neck. And it's a biker bar. No one's scared of you, JT. Let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. 25. Any order over $25, you get free delivery right now. Western Pizza Express is where you can find that. The pizza is just the goodness. The Greek ribs, maybe a burger, some wings, all that. Western Pizza Express. Dave Thomas is joining us. Dave, you answered our question. 44 games in the AAA Midget Loop. Is that what they play?
That's what they play.
Okay. Things are going to get really interesting. Real interesting there. But it was real interesting in Riderville yesterday. Andrew Harris. We're talking to Arash Madani in hour 2. And Arash is one of those guys. I'm not organized enough to keep receipts. But he remembers saying on this show over a year ago, do you have the clip? Okay, Colson's going to play the clip.
You got it. One last thing. Member of Corey Mesa's staff, I'm not saying this is a done deal, wouldn't surprise me if Andrew Harris is going to be involved in some way there.
Can't make fun of him for that. He knew something was going on. I read the story at sportscage.com today. Catch you off guard at all? Not really. Kind of this is a good fit?
Well, it catches me off guard. Again, first, I just want to, I'm hoping everything's okay with Anthony Vitelli, who, of course, was the running backs coach and had to leave due to personal reasons or couldn't commit due to personal reasons. He has a terrific family, so I'm hoping everything is well with Anthony and his crew. But I think it's a great fit when you bring in Andrew Harris, and when you're able to bring in players that have recently retired, it can be a double-edged sword, right? Especially if you've played with guys like, for example, Andrew Harris, his understudy was AJ Ouellette in Toronto. So now he's going to be his coach. So it can be a double-edged sword in that, you do have to establish a relationship where you're the coach and he's the player. But having said that, in speaking with Andrew Harris yesterday, he really seems like he's on the ball and on the mark for that and understands that there has to be that separation. And one of the things that stood out to me was the fact that he was talking about, like, I wasn't the fastest guy, I wasn't the strongest guy, but I did a lot of things right in my career, including not working out a whole bunch. I did more yoga and more agility stuff, and he hopes to bring that to AJ Ouellette, not only to help him succeed more on the field, but also stay healthy and available on the field. So I think it's a great match. Of course, there's a relationship with Corey Mace when the two of them were in Toronto together, and when Harris was battling injuries late in his career, a lot of times he was kind of a player's coach, like almost a Reggie Dunlop, if you will, without the jacket. So we'll see. I think it's a great fit, and I think that he's going to fit in perfectly with his crew. He's definitely motivated to learn all that he can.
Yeah, and you've seen it, Dave, in all different kinds of sports. You've been covering sports a long time as well. It's not always, and actually it's seldom, that really good athletes, really good players make good coaches. What do you see from Andrew Harris that makes you think he's going to be, a good fit on the coaching side here?
Communication. So he has gone ahead and he's been there, done that. So he's got the resume behind him that he can say, hey, you know what, this is why I have earned your respect and trust in what I'm trying to coach and accomplish. But communication, I think, and again, this is a completely different situation, but how many of us thought that Wayne Gretzky was going to be one of the greatest coaches of all time? Well, the thing with Wayne Gretzky that I would submit is that he wasn't able to communicate what he was able to see, right? Because he had such great vision on the ice. He just couldn't communicate that to his team to allow them to accomplish the same things. I think for Andrew Harris, he's got the communication skills and already a pre-built-in relationship with that Rough Rider running back room, which I think is going to make him succeed.
That's a really good point. And then it takes you back to remembering that, Wayne Gretzky did coach in the NHL. What a fail that was in Arizona. Yeah, just never really worked out. What do you remember about Harris as a player and watching him? Like, he was just kind of one of those guys, right? Like, I even go back to the 80s, and I was thinking yesterday after Maz and I were done, I was like, it was like the Mike Pringle, but Pringle was a little more shifty, wasn't as powerful. Mike Sellers in Edmonton, like just a tank, like a force. Yeah. What do you remember about Harris?
A couple of things stand out for me. Number one is the fact that he was a trendsetter, right? And the fact that there weren't a lot of full-time halfbacks or running backs, if you want to view it that way, for the Canadian Football League teams to use that were national because the risk was just that high. And he came in, after John Cornish kind of started down that path. And then Andrew Harris, he battled for everything that he got. And again, he had a completely different running style, a different running model. He was such a great blocking back. I felt that he read the game well. And again, as a Rough Rider fan, you just absolutely despised seeing him on the field tearing things up, but you had to respect the job that he did. And the other thing that stands out to me was, again, he kind of mentioned yesterday that I'm not the fastest, not the strongest, but man, he was such an athlete. And I don't know if you remember in your time in Saskatoon, I was calling a game when he was playing with the Vancouver Island Raiders against the Saskatoon Hilltops. And I was trying to dig out the game sheet yesterday from my call that day. But he had almost 300 yards rushing, if memory serves correct. And the one run started at his own 20-yard line. He went all the way to the far side of the football field on the right-hand side. He got stopped. And we're talking stopped by 8 guys. So he turned around, he bubbled back, took 12 yards back and reversed his field all the way the other direction, then went and ran for the touchdown. And didn't lose stride, wasn't gassed. I'm like, oh, wow. And that's exactly what the Hilltops at the time thought too.
Yeah, he was something special. It was the old men playing with boys. That's what I remember about him. And then, to each their own. School isn't for everybody. But he never really explored the collegiate side of things, which I always thought was weird.
No, and again, right, it's different pathways for different players. And that was kind of the thing with Andrew Harris. And like you said, he went through the junior ranks. He paid his dues. He was basically a territorial exemption of the BC Lions, if memory serves correct. So, again, he walked on. He earned a spot there, and then he became one of the superstars in the league, who I think is probably going to be bound for the Hall of Fame someday, especially when you consider 4 Grey Cup championships. Absolutely.
Canadian. It's okay, free agency. Let's go down the list of the key guys that are still pending for the Riders, free agent wise. What's on your list?
Oh, there's a lot of them. Like, I'm curious what's going to happen along the offensive line. Of course, Peter Godber, the center, is a pending free agent. Where does he land? Where does he fall? Of course, he was nicked up near the end of the season last year, tried to play through it. And again, we'll see how Peter ends up. The other one, of course, Marcus Sayles on the defensive side. He came in and he really set the identity in a lot of different ways for the secondary, along with Roland Milligan Jr. You had them playing on opposite sides of the secondary most times, and boy, was he dynamic coming in. Of course, have to wait and see how he factors in. He indicated at the end of last year he would be very open to a return to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. We'll see whether or not that's going to be the case, as again, we start to proceed towards that February 2nd day where teams can make formal offers to pending free agents. That's the first day that they can do that over a span of 7, by the way. And then I think the other one that's intriguing that really no one has talked a lot about is, again, Nelson Lacombo made his first interception for the Saskatchewan Roughriders late in the season. And again, it was one of those long overdue moments. But Nelson Lacombo, to my knowledge, is a pending free agent. Now, I will have to double check that. But again, where does he fall? I know the Riders have already re-signed Jaden Dalkey to a contract extension, and Jaden kind of started the year at safety before switching to more of a support and special teams role after Nelson Lacombo was moved from the corner to safety after, of course, Marcus Sayles was picked up. So those are kind of the intriguing ones to me to see whether or not they're all good people and they all deserve to be paid. We'll just see where it falls.
The Sayles one is so interesting for me because he was kind of, discarded in BC. He comes here, and it's great to see, again, see it in every sport where a player will kind of rekindle his career a bit. Now the Riders give him that chance. He has a good season. They have a good thing going here. I would be shocked if he chases maybe a little bit more somewhere else, because talking to Glen Suitor last week, we all live in Canada. We don't live in Texas or Florida or a state where there's no state tax. A little bit extra when it comes into the old oat bag in Canada isn't that big of a deal. You kind of want that comfort. You want the chance to win. I would be surprised, and I don't know the guy from a hole in the ground, if he doesn't come back, though.
Well, and you know what? There's a lot to speak to Marcus Sayles' character, I would suggest. And the fact that when he was released by BC, in large part it had to do to salary, right? Like, even though the BC Lions may have completely overshot the salary cap by the end of the year, they were in a salary crunch at the start of the year, long before we even talked about Matthew Betts or Nathan Rourke. Having said that, he came to Saskatchewan and he wasn't, again, his resume, I thought, spoke for itself when he came in, and I was really excited that the Riders had an opportunity to bring him in. And he wasn't upset about not playing the first game. He didn't have an ego. Again, he came in, he just kind of rolled up his sleeves and he went to work. He was such an articulate young man. He'll talk to you about anything that's on his mind. And that first practice, I'll never forget. It was at the University of Regina. The only time the Riders practiced at the U of R this season, there were 90-kilometer-an-hour gusts. And it was absolutely insane that the ball was flying everywhere, but this guy was having the time of his life. And I think that spoke a lot to his personality and how he just clicked right in with that group.
I don't know him, talked to him once, heard him a lot when you were talking to him and when Luke was talking to him and Justin on the shows. he's the kind of guy to me, when I listen to him, that I'm like, this guy's going to be a coach when his career's done.
Oh, I would agree. Absolutely. He is such an intelligent player, and the way he saw things. And again, he never gave away any state secrets, but just listening to him knowledgeably speak about the receivers that he was going to have to cover or the schemes that may be run in front of him. And you know what? He's equally as passionate too, because don't kid yourself. When he made that interception against the BC Lions, he was on cloud 9 because you could just feel that that's, again, just such an emotional release, and the fact that he went from being discarded to having an opportunity to go ahead and make a play. And again, when he comes up with it, you can see the smile on his face from across the stadium in such a big moment. So there's so many positive factors with Marcus Sayles, but again, it's one of those situations where you can't keep everyone, even though you'd love to.
You've had a chance to, dissect, I'm sure, the schedule and what's gone on there, and looked at your summer plans, you and the family, and all that. It's awesome that the amount of rest days. Now it varies a bit from top to bottom, right? But that's one thing that's jumping out at me, Dave, and being like, after last year, you were on the plane with the team. And people, it's like, wow, they get to fly everywhere. Like a 3-hour football game, banging bodies, just what that does, like the knees, the back. Then you got to get on a bird, and hey, it's not, extra legroom central here. It's not one of those Arab Emirates first-class planes. And then you bolt to Regina, and then there was days that you guys, it must have felt like you were back on that plane 12 hours later.
Well, the one thing that I'll say is that according to the CFLPA survey, again, at least we weren't on the Bombers plane, right?
Yes. Yeah, that old CP Air.
But the end of the day, again, yes, you know what, the travel is the travel, but it's just the rest days in between. And the Riders were always going out east, and there was that string, right, where they went from Montreal to Ottawa to Toronto, and they did it every second week over the course of the summer, and they were always coming off a short week, always facing a team that was coming off a bye. And just as far as competitive balance is confirmed, or is I guess when it comes to competitive balance, it just didn't make sense. And so now you've eliminated a lot of that, and you look at the Roughriders, and again, there's different people that asked me about my analysis, because I have it at 5.62 rest days per game for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Now, that differs from others. What I did was I based that on including their bye weeks over the entirety of the schedule. So that's where the 5.62 comes in, which is basically on line with everyone else. But they don't have a 4-day turnaround, and they've only got the 1 5-day turnaround. So to me, this is a sensational schedule as far as competition goes for the Roughriders. And I love what they've done with some of the home games too, like as far as only having that one Sunday game being the Labor Day Classic and the one Thursday, which is the season opener.
I was at sportscage.com just a little while ago. I saw your story on the pro football prospects and the CFL Combine. What can you tell us about that?
Coming on March 21st to 23rd, 3 days of some of the best football players in the nation that are hoping to be called at the CFL draft are going to be in Regina. It's going to be a great opportunity to see some of the up-and-coming stars. Players like Joe, for example, attended that last year. So it's an opportunity for the players to come out. They're going to be competing. They're going to be interviewed. And if you go to CFL.ca and check out some of the interviews that were done behind the scenes with the players, like, it's an intense process. Like, I couldn't imagine doing that as a young player, or even myself now, but it's going to be really cool, and I'm pretty excited that it's coming to Regina.
Right on. Okay, Dave, thanks so much for taking some time here today, getting everyone up to date on what you know. You watching any of the curling from afar, Kindersley?
A little bit. I know there's a lot of people that are kind of upset about the fact that the championships are happening at the same time in the same venue, but to me, this logistically makes sense. Like, if you watch any of the Grand Slam stuff, they do men and women at the same time at the same venue. Like, it can be done, and I think it's going to be a great week of curling. It's the first time Saskatchewan will ever have 2 entries in the Brier, as of course we've already got Team Mike McEwen headed that direction. So I think it's going to be pretty cool. And how about Josh Bryden, by the way, overseas? He'll be competing for a bronze medal early this morning, or I guess early tomorrow morning, in Italy, representing the University of Regina.
Yeah, lost to the United States today in a tough one. Got out of that, took some chances early, and just couldn't battle back. That's what you got to do there, though. Yeah, so hopefully a bronze tomorrow for the U of R team, skipped by Josh Bryden. All right, Dave, thanks so much, bud.
Hey, no problems, and thanks for not hanging on, because I'd have thrown the cross-check your way.
No, yeah, it is cross-check season. That is voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders here on 620 CKRM. Dave Thomas. You can, like those stories we were talking about, if you want to read up more on the 2025 CFL Combine or anything on the Andrew Harris, you can find them at sportscage.com. Quick break. When we come back, we're talking lacrosse, Saskatchewan Rush style. It is the all-new Sportscage, streaming at sportscage.com.
Act fast when wildlife damage happens. Don't wait. Delaying may impact your claim. All Saskatchewan producers may be eligible to receive funding for both preventative measures and wildlife damage concerns. To learn more about wildlife damage prevention and compensation options, contact your local SCIC office or call 1-888-935-0000. SCIC, here at every turn.
Hello there, this is George Leith, Managing Partner at Harvard Media. I'm proud to announce that SaskToday.ca is now under local Saskatchewan ownership. SaskToday's team of local journalists are on the ground in communities across the province. We focus on local topics that matter to you: community news, agriculture, business commentary, local sports in our all-new Sportscage, and more. Visit and bookmark SaskToday.ca and sign up for our daily news digest. SaskToday.ca, from Harvard Media, everywhere.
Please, sir, can I have some warmth?
Warmth? You want warmth?
You didn't call Busy Bee, did you? Now it's winter and all the homeless rats are getting in.
I wish they had fixed that door then. It's dreadfully cold.
Go over there and eat your gruel. They gave you more. If rats are getting in your garage, just call Busy Bee. They can fix or replace any commercial or garage door.
Please, sir.
Shut up. Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists.
You say
move,
and your cows say you tell them
your water is right over there,
and they say you can't convince a cow to move to the water, so move the water to the cows with the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System. With the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System, you can put your pump pretty much anywhere without the cost of hooking up to the grid. Learn more about the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System at kelnsolar.com. Keln Solar, we move water.
The all-new Sportscage is live streaming from our Century Studios in downtown Regina. Watch now at sportscage.com. Be part of the show by texting 306-936-6262. 620 CKRM.
We are back for Saskatchewan Lotteries on this Tuesday. Hey, don't forget to book your team's fundraiser at the Canadian Brewhouse. A chance to win $2,500. Tons of options to choose from. The Canadian Brewhouse can help you raise the funds for your crew. All the details online at thecanadianbrewhouse.com. Not sure, it was freezing cold yesterday. Not sure what the crowds were like at both Regina locations or the one in Moose Jaw for the national championship game. Ohio State sneaking it out. They were in control for most of it, but it would have been nice to see Notre Dame come back in that one if you were watching it. We're going to get to the golf cart video a little bit later that's gone viral from last night's game. Oh, it's a bad look for that young lady that was driving that golf cart. If you're watching the stream, you'll get a kick out of that. Saskatchewan Rush, full disclosure, I don't live and breathe, and I love watching it, though. It is so exciting, especially live. And Rush are off to a decent start. Let's go out in the Western Pizza guest hotline where they got Free delivery on orders over $25 right now, Western Pizza Express. Cody Janzen joining us on the Sports Cage. Cody, like the lid, by the way, looking sharp. So right now we're sitting 4-2 for the Saskatchewan Rough. Just kind of give us a quick recap on how the season's gone so far for our Rush.
Yeah, it's been an interesting season. A little bit of ups and downs, but still 4-2 is crazy that we're saying, hey, we're sitting third in the league right now. It's a 14-team league, right? So the parity top to bottom has been really good. 3 of the first 4 games went to overtime. Rush won 2 of those, and then just coming off of a loss against Toronto over the weekend where the Rock, they went to the league semifinals last year. They're now healthy, and, they took it to the Rush a little bit in the third quarter, and then, Sask just couldn't climb their way back. They got a couple of late goals, but ultimately it's kind of their first little hiccup on the season because, losing to Philly in overtime, not that big of a hiccup. Philly's second in the league, and they got a great offense.
Who makes this team tick offensively this year for the Rush?
Zach Mans has to be that kid. He's second year, really a full-timer in the league. He's got 31 points in 6 games. A lot of things have gone through him, but it's still, you go back to the veterans. And Robert Church has now come off his injury. He's got 4 goals in his last 2 games. He's a special player, right? I think everyone in Saskatchewan knows the name Robert Church because he's been a legend here for the past 8-9 years. And again, it's pretty cool. It's not the franchise record yet. He's still got 100 points to chase down Matthews for the all-time franchise record. But since, the team moved from Edmonton to Saskatchewan, no one scored more than Robert Church. He's got 689 points. That's crazy. So it's a cool milestone he reached over the weekend.
You mentioned the parity in the league, and I'm looking at the standings here, right? It's like there's no divisions. It's like, boom, they're all right there. Buffalo's leading 5-0. You talked about the tough loss for the Rush against Philadelphia. Is Buffalo the runaway favorites here this year? Like everyone's going to be chasing them, and what makes them so good?
Yeah, Buffalo just went and beat the brakes off of Philly this past weekend. So they got 2 guys on pace for over 100 assists this year. It's crazy. They've got stars like Dane Smith, Josh Byrne, Matt Vince is their goaltender. He's been one of the best in the league for the last 15 years. So he's kind of like the Martin Brodeur of the league. If you want to throw it into hockey terms, that's been Matt Vince. And then you got 2 of the top offensive players in Dane Smith and Josh Byrne. That's really, their team does have depth and everything, but it always just seems like they're going to go as far as their stars take them. And they kind of have a tandem like McDavid and Draisaitl, but they actually win championships.
Woo, little bit of a dig there.
Well, no, I came from Edmonton working for Oilers radio, and again, I'm not saying that they can't win it, but like now Byrne and Smith are in their 30s and they're winning championships. They didn't. They lost to Sask in 2016. They lost to Calgary in 2019. But now they got over the hump, and it seems like they just can't stop winning. So maybe the Oilers get there. Who knows?
This weekend, Saturday, always fun when there's a Rush home game. Albany is in town. Fantastic hotel back in the day in Saskatoon. Albany's in town, and it's retro night. Speaking of retro, so what can people expect when they head to this one? Lots of hairspray and ripping darts in the stands, or what's retro night consist of?
I don't think I can condone that, but also I'll have a headset on, so I won't be telling anyone not to. All jokes aside, though, yeah, retro outfits, like the fans love to get dressed up. You get a little bit of music from the 80s, 90s. The guys get to show up in their retro suits and jumpsuits. So it's pretty fun in that regards. And then the team's wearing some retro jerseys. I don't know if you got to take a look at those. They're on Rush social medias all over, but like they're a cool throwback. It kind of reminds me of like an old college lacrosse jersey. Like I'm thinking like 70s, 80s. You got the numbers on the front. You got Sask. It's still that patented Rush green. You got the black stripes. I think they're sharp. I'm excited. I think fans have had pretty good. They've been pretty receptive to the change as well. So I'm excited to see them in action.
That I'm looking at them right now. Those are they're not like super crazy, but they do have that like early 90s, late 80s college. If they put a nice pace setter or a wind pant, maybe get, I don't know if me Sporting Goods is still around up there. Yeah, that would be nice. And you know what? To get to a game for a family, if you just want to go with your friends and all that, it's so affordable to go to a Rush game and take in this atmosphere.
$20 co-op tickets. Like where you can hardly get to a junior hockey game for $20 nowadays.
Yeah, how do people? So what should they be going online? Where are the co-ops? What's the deal?
Well, you can go online and like go through saskrush.com. But if you're in Saskatoon, I think there's other co-op like gas bars around the province as well that have them. You drive up there and you scan the QR code. Usually it's on the front door or by the till. Like go and scan the QR code and pick up a $20 ticket, right? Like it's an unreal deal for the value. I think the entertainment value of lacrosse is second to none. I think for 2 hours, you won't find a faster game on 2 feet, and it's just action-packed.
7 p.m. Saturday night up in Saskatoon, Albany, and the Saskrush. Well, while we got you here, I know you run a popular hockey Twitter account as well. Let's talk a little bit of hockey. You took a shot at the Edmonton Oilers there. Let's go to the cross-check. We got 3 games on both sides, Myers and Connor McDavid. Is that justifiable?
Well, it depends on, and I go back to, is the standard the standard? And I feel like it's a bit of a pinwheel, right? Like, did they just spin it and go for it? Now, I think Oilers fans are delusional, being like, it's Connor Garland's fault. It's not his fault he got cross-checked in the head, but he was being a nuisance out there, and if the refs aren't going to stop it, eventually McDavid's going to get ticked off and do something stupid, which he clearly did. So I think 3 games is fine. Like, he's not even appealing it. He's probably happy to be sitting on the couch for a little bit, but like, look back to like Trouba slashing a guy in the head last year, Susie in playoffs, getting the game. Like, there's no standard. It's just spinning the wheel. And yeah, you can see like the Myers cross check too. I think that's a little bit more deliberate because that's not even near the scrum. Like, that's just out of the blue. That's a 6'6" D-man just taking a cross check right into someone's jibs for no reason.
I think I read too that, you know, Myers basically said, yeah, I was trying to go lower and
yeah,
it didn't
but what's
happen.
lower? In the throat? Like, you're going to hit him in the throat instead?
Right. Adam's apple shot. And he was just like, yeah, you know what? That's fine. I'll take the 3. I'll take the 3 here. For McDavid, like you said, could be a little bit of a blessing here, a little January break for number 97 with 3 games out. Yeah. It's too bad we don't get to see him against this hot Washington Capitals team. Pretty interesting stuff, though, what's going on down the road in Calgary. Like, as of, you know, they're battling for this playoff spot where everyone kind of thought, like, Calgary was a borderline AHL or Senior A team entering Senior A provincial playdowns here in Saski.
Yeah, and you get a little mix of goaltending, right? That comes through clutch. I think consistency and culture have kind of shone through, and it's weird because I think a lot of Flames fans would have admitted they thought the sky was falling with the whole Matthew Tkachuk thing, and, you know, losing guys like Bennett, and I don't know. It just feels like a team where I'm not as impressed by them as Washington. Like, what Washington's doing with their team roster, stupid right now. But yeah, the Flames, you got to tip your cap, and they're putting up a fight. Let's see, though. There's still a lot of hockey left. Like, if that team ends up dropping out, I think everyone would be like, well, yeah, it's the Flames. Like, I don't think we're talking about a team that's battling for a top 2 spot.
No. Washington, though. Even like Montreal in the East, you know, there's a lot of Habs fans everywhere you go. They're kind of got that feeling in the East, although in the East, it seems like you could win 5 games in a row and you gain 1 point on the competition.
Who's that Czech kid they got between the pipes there? He's kicking.
Yeah.
They got this young kid there who's been a stud, which is funny because I feel like Montreal's kind of had some flashes in the pants. Like, I thought Caden Primo was going to be a good NHL goaltender. He hasn't turned out. Sam Montembeau's fine, but like, I don't know. He's still not like a top 15 starting goaltender in the league. And then like you look at a team like Washington and that, and I don't know. Again, it's kind of the East is weird, man. You said it. Like it feels like teams can get hot and you still don't really gain any ground. And then end of the day, it's coming down to who's beating Florida in a 7-game series.
And like Ottawa just seems to be that blah. Whatever, yay, they're Canadian, but it's like, I don't know. And then they're right there right now in a wild card spot, but it's tight, and I don't know how that plays. Is Boston going to start selling at some point? Are you a Four Nations guy? Do you like what we're going to be watching here in a few weeks?
I mean, do I like it? Yeah, it's hockey. It's the best on best. I like that. I'm still a bitter person and being like, I want to see like, I think like the Czech Republic or Czechia now. Sorry, I'll be politically correct. I think like, I want to see more nations. I don't know where people stand, but I still want to see like Russia at the Olympics and get all that stuff sorted out, because I do think I really miss best on best hockey. I don't know. We had it so good 15 years ago. Like people don't know how good we had it. And so, yeah, call me a throwback, old school. I still think 2002, some of my favorite hockey ever watching, and I'd go watch a game in a heartbeat then. Whereas like now it feels like I'm not, I don't know, running to my TV if Canada's playing Finland. I'm going to watch it, obviously. I'm a hockey nerd too, but like, I don't know. It doesn't excite me as much. Canada, USA, sure, it should be good. Maybe USA gets like Hellebuck to steal them a game or two, but like, Canada should beat the snot out of them, no?
Oh, I don't know, man. I think it's...
What's the spread? What's the spread for game one? I'd say it's got to be sitting at like Canada minus 2.5.
Game one is Sweden, Canada. So we're going to find out a lot. At least kind of Canada gets a little, get a couple of games in there. U.S. and Canada, well, they're going to put Canada as a favorite. The odds makers just will, I think. That's going to be a real interesting watch. And then we got Italy coming up the next year. I agree with you, though. Like they couldn't, I get with what's going on in Russia and all that, but they couldn't have squeezed in Czechia into this thing. Like even let them play with the Slovaks. I don't know if they're
a while ago. Yeah.
If they're still not talking, I don't know. Bring in Czechoslovakia or something. Let them play together. Can they
get along well?
Can they mend things for a week just to get into this tournament? But I think a Czechia team would have been a nice add. Slovaks maybe not deep enough. But then I heard when I was talking to a buddy from Finland about his team, and I had no idea. He was like, "Yeah, we have literally 8 defensemen in the NHL, and they're all going." Like after that, we start going to the AHL. There's not a lot of Finnish defensemen apparently out there. So I don't know if Slovakia would have been able to compete. Czechia would have been nice. 5 teams. I think, but we only have so much time to get this in.
Well, I still think like a Czechia, Switzerland, or else you just throw in a Team Europe, like that kind of World Cup a while ago, right? Like that was, I didn't mind the Team Europe or whatever they had.
Then
I wasn't a fan of the U23. I wasn't a fan of that. That felt like you're ruining the opportunity for those guys to wear their national color. Like that's all you want is like you want to represent your country on the biggest stage. Like those guys will tell you that 2010 was the coolest memory ever, and we forced them to wear these ugly black and orange jerseys and called them the Young Guns. What?
Yeah, it was such good hockey. It was sneaky good hockey.
It was,
but the whole thing was just weird. It was like in August. It was like 45 degrees out. Maybe Germany. I don't know. Could Germany? You said Switzerland.
No.
I think Czechia would have been our best bet if the Russians couldn't be there. But yeah, we'll see how it all shakes down. All right, Cody. It's nice to catch up. Have a good time at Retro Night. Are you gonna cut the sides and the top off that thing and just go shorty long back Kentucky Waterfall for Retro Night?
No, I mean, hey, I've kind of got like a classic hockey mullet, lacrosse mullet going already, but I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm not going all in on one week. Maybe I'll find a nice like a Value Village find, right? Like maybe I'll do some shopping this week, treat myself.
Yeah,
retro.
We'll get look for a Varney or a Sun Ice. Look good on you. Right on. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
So, Cody Janzen, play-by-play guy of the Saskatchewan Rush, also knows as hockey, as you heard there. Time for a quick break. It is the Sports Cage. We're streaming at sportscage.com and on the home of sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
Been there, done that. We get it. And we've got something great for you. The Great Bin Giveaway on 620 CKRM. We're giving you the chance to win a 100-ton fertilizer bin from Core Grain. All you have to do is be listening to find out which sponsor locations you can enter at, all across southern Saskatchewan. You'll also have some chances to qualify during Saskag Today with Ryan Young. The grand prize draw will take place at Ag in Motion this July. Don't miss out on your chance to have a shot at the Great Bin Giveaway on 620 CKRM.
The folks at Freeze Tallman want to talk about being more than just lumber. They want to talk about decking, railing, drywall, insulation, siding, roofing, windows, interior doors, and more. They want to talk about improving your home inside and out. They want to talk about excellent customer service and a drive to serve you as best as they can. Keep the conversation going. Head to Freeze Tallman today in Regina and Fort Capel. When planning your next building project, think Freeze Tallman. Freeze Tallman, let's get you building.
Every Sunday morning, wake up to country music legends on 620 CKRM. Sunday Morning Classics. Celebrate the legends that paved the way and define the heart and soul of country music. Relive the unforgettable classic hits and the legacy of country's greatest artists. Join us this Sunday and every Sunday as we honor the icons who brought country music to life. It's a journey through the rich history of country music. Sunday Morning Classics for Regina Funeral Home and Cemetery. Sundays at 8 a.m. on the Voice of Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
Hey, it's me, Terry, the Talking Tire. Have I got something for you? Regina Motor Products has got instant rebates on all the top brands when you buy a set of 4 tires. That's a $120 rebate on new Bridgestone Blizzak tires, $90 rebate on new Pirelli Ice Zero Asymmetrical tires, or $70 rebate on all other Pirelli tires, $90 rebate on new Firestone winter tires, $65 rebate on new Michelin tires, and $50 rebate on new BF Goodrich tires. Regina Motor Products has your winter tires. Visit rmpchevrolet.com.
Welcome back to the all-new Sports Cage. Get social with us. Follow us on X at Sports Cage. Watch our video stream at sportscage.com and always on the radio at 620 CKRM.
It's for Saskatchewan Lotteries on Tuesdays, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery Products fund over 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. So when you're buying those tickets, you know the money and proceeds are going to a good place. Around the area tonight, hockey-wise, in Melville. Fantastic facility. You guys ever been, Colson, Curtis? Probably not. Into the new rink in Melville, the CN Center, whatever they call it. Great barn. Melville hosting the hottest team in the SJHL, the Flin Flon Bombers. They're 19-0-1-1 in their last 21. That game goes 7 p.m. in Melville. Notre Dame travels a short one tonight into Weyburn, and Humboldt is up in Nipawin. Western Hockey League report for Extreme Hockey and Sport. The Yeti sale continues. Our Regina Pats are in Medicine Hat. The Hats they're 7-0-0 in their last 7. Tough one for the young, scrappy Pats. The game can be heard right here on 620 CKRM with Dante. Pre-game show starts at 7:30. Brandon clawing for a playoff spot. They're in Kelowna, Vancouver, at Seattle. The other games in the Western Hockey League. AAA Midget. No games tonight, but I got to mention last night. Probably never too early to do our Clutch Performer. And do another one later. For Nick Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson Challenger Rogator Gleaner and Fent dealer. Call 781-1077. I'm going to give it to Ryan Gibbs in the losing effort for the Moose Jaw. He just continues to put up points. But it was a Saskatoon Blazers 5-3 win over Moose Jaw last night. First place, Moose Jaw Warriors. Again, Gibbs had 1-1. He's our Clutch Performer. Pat C's in Swift tomorrow. That should be a good one in Swift Current. Curling going on in Kindersley. The Tandem, the Prairie Pinnacle Women's Championship. The Viterra Prairie Pinnacle Women's Championship. Picture in a pack. Women are going at it at 4 o'clock again. We'll keep you updated there. On the men's side, let's see if that last game wrapped up. It looks like it did. Knapp 6-5 over Kalhoff. Kleider also a win today. Thomas and Laycock. Men's draw, the ever-popular Beer Garden Special, 8 p.m. They go again in Kindo. There's a quick little rundown. It's almost 4 o'clock. Up to news, and we come back 4 o'clock. Not only do I got Arash Madani, but I got Ryan Pollock. And when Ryan Pollock's in, he brings 2 hours of free simulator golf to the Royal Regina Golf Course. We're going to give that away in the next 2 hours as well. It is a Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. It's mostly cloudy and it's -3 in Regina. I'm Corey Atkinson from the Harvard Media News Center with 620 CKRM News. Manslaughter and drug charges have been laid in connection with the 2021 death of an inmate at the Regina Correctional Center. In February of 2021, a 38-year-old inmate at the facility went into medical distress. The inmate died a short time later. It was revealed through an investigation by the RCMP and the Saskatchewan Coroner Service that the inmate was given cocaine before going into distress. As a result, 42-year-old Mitch Schofer from Moose Jaw is charged with cocaine trafficking and manslaughter. He appeared in court yesterday. A black Labrador named Merlot is being remembered for the comfort she gave to crime and trauma victims in Regina courtrooms. The city's police service say the service dog died last week from cancer, just shy of her 12th birthday. Merlot's handler, Sergeant Tia Fro, says Merlot had a caring old soul and would lighten the mood when she sometimes snored loudly during quiet courtroom testimony. Merlot joined the police service in 2015 and retired in 2023. Premier Danielle Smith says Alberta will take a wait-and-see approach on U.S. tariffs before publicly discussing a response. U.S. President Donald Trump suggested yesterday that he might impose 25% tariffs on Canadian goods as of February 1st. Smith says this might be an opportunity for Canadians to support each other as trade partners.
I just think that there's a recalibration that needs to be done. The reason why we have such strong North-South relationships and why those are the dominant relationships because we're not very good at supporting each other as provinces. We have too many internal trade barriers, and we have too much opposition to these big kind of nation-building projects. Maybe that's the recalibration we need to do.
Smith is the lone premier dismissing talk of retaliatory threats, including a counter-tariff on Alberta's oil and gas exports. The president of the Canadian Medical Association says it's not surprising that many Canadians have turned to online sources for health information. A new online poll of more than 3,700 adult Canadians by the CMA and Abacus Data found 37% of Canadians have no choice but to seek health information online because they couldn't access a doctor. The CMA says an estimated 6.5 million Canadians do not have a family doctor or nurse practitioner that they see regularly. That's 1 in 5 people. And on day 2 of his second term, U.S. President Donald Trump told reporters that he didn't like the post-inauguration prayer service at the American National Cathedral.
Reverend Marianne Edgar Buddy, the Episcopal Bishop of Washington, had a message for President Trump at today's inauguration prayer service.
I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution.
Reporters later asked President Trump what he thought of Buddy's sermon.
Not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service, no. Thank you very much.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
That's your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Sask Lotteries has 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Help us grow the next 50. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
Farmers, grain, poultry, cattle, barn, house, and more. A generator is a necessity. Whether you need to keep operating during an outage, keep water bowls from freezing, grain drying during winter, or need power at a remote location, you need a generator from Shorty Generators. Now is the season to buy or service your generator on the farm to be sure you always have power when and where you need it. And Shorty services all makes and models, including PTO generators. Shorty Generators. Power where you need it. ShortyGenerators.ca.
it's time for your 620 CKRM Precision Weather Forecast for Linex Regina. Serious protection, killer looks, 1865 McCarra Street. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies with a risk of some flurries developing, winds on the increase and a low of -11. Tomorrow, a risk of morning flurries, otherwise skies remain cloudy and a brisk breeze, the high -10. And then on Thursday, lingering cloudiness with some breaks of sun and a high of -6. At this hour in Moose Jaw, it's mostly sunny, winds are from the northwest at 50 and it's -2. Regina is mostly cloudy, winds are from the northwest at 31 and it's -3. For more local news that matters to you, subscribe to our daily newsletter at sasktoday.ca.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line-X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line-X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line-X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line-X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line-X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
Hello there, this is George Leith, Managing Partner at Harvard Media. I'm proud to announce that SaskToday.ca is now under local Saskatchewan ownership. Sask Today's team of local journalists are on the ground in communities across the province. We focus on local topics that matter to you, community news, agriculture, business commentary, local sports in our all-new Sportscage, and more. Visit and bookmark SaskToday.ca and sign up for our daily news digest. SaskToday.ca, from Harvard Media, everywhere.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents the all-new Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Sask Lotteries, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery products fund over 12,000 sports, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. Be a part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936. 6262. The all-new Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Back, hour 2. And nothing against Colson and Curtis, but exciting now. Ryan Pollock joining for the next 2 hours. It's been a while, a few weeks since you've been in the seat.
It's been a little while. Nice to be back.
And I know I said that the Pat Canadians Swift Current game is tomorrow. It's tonight.
You're getting picked on over that one.
Yeah,
eh?
I got text messages coming in. Oh, Chikai.
We know people are listening. That's good.
I love the AAA loop. Want to give it some love. So that Pat C's game is tonight in Swift. Hit up Wong's and go watch that. Pats are 4 points up in the standings. Before we get to Arash Madani, because he's listening. He's in the green room right now, as Curtis calls it. He's listening. We were talking NFL, and we're going to talk a lot of NFL football with Arash and throughout the next 2 hours and the games that happened this past weekend. Now, I asked you where your allegiance lies, and you say you and your kids kind of, you're Baltimore, Pittsburgh, kind of that same division.
Yes,
that's tough. Sorry, everyone out there. This is Chiefs fan. Hey, I'm a Patriots fan. I put up with a lot of it. I despise the Chiefs. I just do not want the Chiefs to win. If they win, I will congratulations and all that. I just can't. Now, this is a question I'm posing to you. Do you despise, hate, whatever, the Chiefs more, or back 10, 15 years ago, the Patriots?
Oh, the Chiefs.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. They kind of give me a different feel. I don't know how to explain it. I like Tom. I like Tom Brady. I liked the way
Moxie?
he played, his moxie. Sure,
Yeah.
You like it. Mahomes doesn't necessarily give me those warm and fuzzies, but there's no denying he can play the game.
And I know everyone's like, oh, the refs and the memes and everything. That's not what I'm about. No. They just sneak around. They slink around. Like Houston, they coach that game better. Mm-hmm. I think the Texans have a legit shot to knocking them off.
I believe so. I thought there were some really interesting calls, scenarios, ways they went about some things to go for it on 4th and 10 from midfield and have your players on the field almost be shocked that we're going for it and have no play call and essentially have to rush the ball off when you're right in the middle of it. To me, there was a couple times in the game where I just went, "What's the plan here? What's going on?" So they were right there. They were right there in the mix, and I just a couple plays here and there may have tipped the tide. But isn't that the whole story with the Chiefs? They find a way year after year after year when you think that you kind of have them cornered. Those things happen.
They're that guy that you don't invite to the party or the road trip, and he somehow shows up.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
How the hell did you get in here?
Exactly. And hey, in their defense, in Houston's defense, and I was talking this exact scenario with a football guy, we'll say, and you got to give the Chiefs credit. They force you at times to make those decisions because you got to find your opportunity to get that extra possession or maybe get that one more first down and not punt it away. And the next thing you know, you're backed into a corner.
My phone blew up when they took that safety.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone was like, you covered.
Yeah.
You covered. No, it was 9. I had 9.5.
Yeah.
So now that game, I was just like, all right, let's talk to Arash. Brian Golly, do your thing.
The all-new Sports Cage and Coast to Coast with Arash Madani is brought to you by Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Golly at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
Yeah, that would have been a nice hit. I would have called Brian Golly, maybe invested some of that 9 cover money, but it was 9.5. Let's go. Let's keep the NFL thing going here.
Let me just chime in here, because I think it's a fascinating conversation. I think KC does to opponents what Tom and Belichick and those guys did at the end of that last Patriots run. Remember, New England won a bunch of championships, right, Barney? And then they weren't in the mix for a long time. And then they came back, and there was a renaissance when Gronk and Hernandez and all those guys. I guess we're not allowed to talk about
True, Hernandez. Whoa.
Yeah, Julian Edelman and those guys.
Yeah, let's go there. The McCourties and good people.
Well, the Patriots drove opponents so crazy that they almost felt like they were forced to do things that weren't in their DNA, that weren't in their identity. What Ryan just talked about, going for it on 4th and 10, DeMeco Ryans would have done that against no other opponent. And, that was still a ball game. There was no need for it. And yet, once you start getting away from who and what you are, that's when the plot is lost. And that's what Kansas City does to opponents. As good as they are, they also have this way of getting in your head. They got into Todd Monken's head last year in the AFC Championship game when they abandoned the run. They got into DeMeco Ryans' head last week in a game that was very winnable.
I'll give a shout out here to Gary in Winnipeg on the text line. I respect the Kansas City Chiefs for not changing their name, like the Washington Redskins or Edmonton Eskimos. Gary from Winnipeg, the old fart. Here's a question for you, Arash. You can answer this too if you want. Is John Harbaugh a good postseason football coach?
I mean, yeah. He's got a Super Bowl on his resume. John Harbaugh wasn't the one who fumbled the ball twice. John Harbaugh wasn't the one who had the ball in his hands at the goal line. John Harbaugh wasn't the one who misread the throw that got picked off. I would say yes.
Yeah, and even to that, for me, I didn't think Baltimore was great in that first half, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't look sharp. They looked like maybe they're questioning things or pressing. So someone had to go into that room and settle things down and redirect, because they sure came out in the second half and looked like the team that people expected them to be. So when I see that tells me that there's a good team.
Ryan. Right? What's that? They didn't panic. They didn't 100%. Panic. They stuck to who they were, and what they do in the third quarter. Oh, right. We have Derrick Henry. We have Justice Hill. Let's give them the football.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know. They came out with it just seemed like a weird game plan. It's not what I expected from them. But later in the game, I was like, Baltimore is going to beat Kansas City. That's what I would say. Baltimore is going to beat Kansas City. They just couldn't get there at that point, does Buffalo obviously can beat Kansas City. Ryan and I were just talking. What's the status on the defensive back though? Looked like he popped his shoulder out there. That didn't look really good. How banged up is Buffalo? What do you see in this matchup?
Yeah, I think everybody this time of year is pretty banged up. I don't know his status. We'll probably find that out tomorrow. But just to put a pin in the Baltimore thing, the Ravens outgained the Bills by 150 yards, 416 to 273. They had 2.5 more yards per play. They were 7 of 10 on third down. But the difference, fellas, Buffalo 0 turnovers, Baltimore 4. The Bills had 1 penalty the entire night. What you have now with Kansas City, and I was texting with somebody in the football world. You weren't the only one, Pollock, doing that.
You guys are popular.
Yeah. But what you have in this AFC Championship game is a Buffalo team that's been the best turnover ratio, best with ball security in the conference this year, against a Kansas City team that hasn't turned the ball over in 8 games. That's why both of these teams are here. If you're watching on the stream, Mark Andrews is wide open over the middle, catches the ball, takes 3 steps, and just has it poked out nearing the midway point of the fourth quarter. That's the difference between playing for a Super Bowl on Sunday and Cancun. So, ball security is job security, and the team that takes care of the ball better on Sunday, they're the ones going to New Orleans. I really believe that.
I don't know why Puerto Vallarta, Watu, they never get any love. It's always Cancun.
Always Cancun.
Yeah, they're going to Cancun.
Cabo gets some love.
Cabo gets a little love on the West Coast. This is the 9th time. That's hard to believe. We're going to see Mahomes versus Allen.
And here's what's wild. Barney, what if I told you Josh Allen is 4-1 against Patrick Mahomes in the regular season?
I believe you.
Then 3-0 Sir Patrick is over Josh in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And this is why I think this is going to be different. If you're watching the stream, this is what happened week 10. Buffalo is down 2 points. Allen just takes off on a run. Look, KC just hasn't been dominant all year, and this is what Buffalo can do, and not even Lamar Jackson has been as dominant with his legs the way Josh is, how headstrong Allen is. I don't think, look, obviously Buffalo beating them this year ended their undefeated season. I don't think Kansas City's as good as they've been through this entire Mahomes era. I don't think they faced a quarterback quite like Allen who's so versatile. It's a really good KC defense with a lot of top picks. How they handle 17, to me, is the story of this game.
I can't believe how much of a Buffalo Bills fan I am going into this week. I might have to buy some gear. Those old
anybody but Kansas City? Is that why?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody but Kansas City. I almost just said something there that would have got me fired.
That's what
That would have done me a favor.
I shared a photo with a Buffalo Bills fan of my son in his Ravens jersey before the game, and then we had a post-game exchange. And I said, it's okay. We all unite against Kansas City next week. Right. So we all go there. Hey, switching gears, Arash, a little bit. I'm sure you watched all the games. Washington, another impressive week. You have any hot takes on Jaden Daniels heading into this weekend?
I was thinking about this, fellas. I think that Jaden Daniels is has had the best rookie year of any athlete in North American professional sports ever.
Whoa.
That's a big statement.
That's heavy.
But think about what he's done. This team, this roster, first of all, is garbage. Outside of Terry McLaurin, he has no weapons. From a win expectation coming into the season, they were 4th worst. This has been a franchise that's been in the tank for a quarter century. It's been more than 12,000 days since Washington got to a conference championship game. And now Daniels has thrown for more yards ever than any other rookie in the history of the NFL. Back-to-back road playoff games where he hasn't turned the ball over, has only been sacked once. For those watching on the stream, the Hail Mary against Chicago, this is one of 5 games that Washington trailed with under a minute to go and won the football game. Like, Ryan, how many times have we heard coaches come in, take a job, and say, we have to change the culture around here?
Every year.
Every time, right? Jaden Daniels single-handedly has changed the culture in Washington because everybody's bought into what he's doing. And now a Washington team that's been, terrible forever is a win away from the Super Bowl.
They used to be the team just in the background, right? Someone else just played them. They were just one of the teams in the league, and now here they are right in the mix again.
The Buffalo Sabres of the NFL.
Right.
Yeah, and what we always say about Washington, well, all you knew about Washington was they had terrible ownership with Daniel Snyder.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how about this one, fellas? This is the one
that's sick logo.
They used to have a sick logo.
Yeah.
So they last got to the Super Bowl, Mark Rippon and company, 91-92. How many starting quarterbacks, just take a guess, has Washington had since 1992? We're talking 33 years. 33 years. Just take a guess. How many starting quarterbacks?
70.
Well, 35. Jaden Daniels is the 35th, like more than one a year. And they've drafted in the first round with RG3 and with Jason Campbell and Heath Schuler. They gave Kirk Cousins to
They had your boy. They had your boy. You like that? You like that?
Actually, Kirk, I don't. Man, it's amazing what's happening there, and it's all out of nowhere. And that's what makes it so cool.
We talked about just yesterday, I can't remember who brought it up, but then you said the VR training.
Yeah.
That Jaden Daniels, you have to talk about that. That is mind-boggling. And where does that go with other sports and everything, right?
Yeah, you're going to think that it's going to catch on. People seeing the success of this, and if he's touting it and saying he's studying the game and watching film on VR and at 1.5 or 1.75 the speed and to train his brain so the game slows down, and when he takes it off, it's remarkable.
Yeah. And look, who knows what's going to happen to Caleb Williams, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? How did Jaden Daniels go to? How did he go to when everybody in college football last year told you he was the best player in the SEC?
It's such a hard. It's so hard to pick good quarterbacks out of college. That I wouldn't want that job. Not a chance.
Yeah, it's hard, but to me, when you take it in reverse, going, if I'm comparing two guys, I'm going, what are the red flags? Which one of those guys coming out had potentially more red flags versus the other, more risk at play versus the other? Maybe that changes. But it ain't easy.
What's amazing too? Everyone with Caleb is talking about development. They're not doing that with Jaden Daniels.
I think Caleb's good. He had some games this year, and I have no idea why I was watching Chicago Bears games, but he had some games that he looked really good. I'm a big Bo Nix guy for some reason. That's actually a really good.
Won a lot of games.
He's just exciting. He's gutsy. He just seems greasy.
Another guy that went in and just didn't accept what it was. We were going to change it. We're going to move forward as a team. We're going to move forward as an organization. So takes that ownership as a young leader.
I don't know what the Patriots have. I still don't know.
I think you have something there. I think that, and I'm interested in Ryan's perspective on this. We live in an NIL transfer portal world. So Jaden Daniels leaves Arizona State to go to LSU. Caleb leaves Oklahoma to go to USC. Bo Nix leaves Ole Miss to go to Oregon. Blah, 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 blah. These guys are coming in having already had to learn a new system immediately, learn new terminology right away. I wonder how much that has made them more pro ready from the jump compared to a lot of other players who are just stuck in one system for 3 or 4 years, basically all the time up until this new era of college football. I wonder how much that weighs into it, that plays into it. I wonder.
Yeah, it's a good point, because actually I was just listening earlier today on how talking about even veteran guys can get into a spot for 4, 5, 6 years, and then they make a change and there's an adjustment period. Well, some of these young guys with this transfer are exactly that. They're used to it. Maybe they know they can highlight areas that I need to focus on a little bit more because this was tougher to pick up. This took me a little bit longer to adjust. These are important items that I need to be on top of. So maybe in a weird way it is prepping them more as well, but I don't know. I'm a believer too that there's an investment into what you're doing. There's a stick-to-itiveness to it, and that pride. And we've taken one step, and I'm staying here to take that final step and do what it takes for my team. But that might be gone. That ship may have sailed.
Okay, NFL over here. We're going to the CFL, and in between getting yelled at, I can't believe you made this claim over a year ago, Arash.
You got it. One last thing. Member of Corey Mace's staff, I'm not saying this is a done deal, wouldn't surprise me if Andrew Harris is going to be involved in some way there.
That's the receipt right there.
By the way, who found that? Game Ball.
Colson.
Wow.
I had to go through a full 2-hour podcast for that. I mean, I know when your segment is, but still.
Yeah.
Colson, great job. That's needle in a haystack stuff right there.
He does unbelievable. He doesn't have a football guy like you and RP, but he puts in the work. He gets things done. You like this though. You like this though, don't you?
I do. And this was I think I talked about that December of 23, basically the last off season. The timing just didn't work out. It does now. I'm assuming Ouellette's going to be back next year. Obviously, he and Harris have that relationship. They were in Toronto together. I've always to me, I've never understood why the running back coach is one of the lowest paid assistants on the totem pole, and why it's almost like an entry level gig. Because so much of that position is about attitude, physicality, understanding offensive line play, etc. I think bringing in a guy who just got a little bit of coaching under his belt last season, who has familiarity with the position and can bring an attitude with physicality, I really like that. I think that's really going to help.
Over under 60 days from the end of training camp that people in Riderville want him to play, though.
I think Andrew will tell them that he's done. I don't think Andrew wants to get hit anymore. That's
Hey, when I brought it up to Darian last year, he wanted to come in and sling it for a quarter. I don't know if that ever goes away. The hitting thing on the running back is a little bit different.
He's got 3 snaps left in his arsenal. Hey, shoot, come sign the contract, Andrew. They play you 3 snaps. They got to pay you the rest of the year.
It's definitely a nice ad. There's no doubt. I never had the chance to meet him direct, so no comment specifically about him. But I know one of the toughest parts for players becoming coaches is the difference in time. That early arrival to the stadium, that late leave at night, the prep of extra video. You don't get to come in and have everything necessarily boxed in for you. I think it's great that he's been able to spend a year or 2 out of the game now and kind of experience that before stepping in. So again, no shot directly at him. I think it's an incredible ad, but I know we've seen it that guys move in too quickly and they go, holy smokes, this is a lot more than I bit off. But I think it's a great ad. Character-wise, work-wise for the Riders, I think it's a great voice for them to add to that staff.
Just 1 year removed.
Just one, yeah.
And the other thing,
I don't want to compare the CJFL with the pros.
Right.
But he did coach last year in the Junior Football League. So at least he got a little bit of a taste of what this is. And I think, obviously the hours, the time, the pressures, the expectations are different. But at least it wasn't one of those, he's like, okay, well, this is something I think I want to do. Yeah. And he didn't have to do that at the pro level right away.
Yeah, agreed. Yep.
Yeah, 1 year. And Coach Mace isn't bringing him in. If he's,
No,
this is
100%.
calculated.
Yep, 100%.
This is totally calculated. Now let's just take a chance on him. I don't know him very well.
No, great ad for them. Great ad.
Well,
for
and
their
Corey
staff.
knows him, right? They spent 2 years in Toronto together, so they know, human DNA, which is a big part of it.
Yep.
What else do we got? Free agency news before things open up, or are we waiting for February 1st?
Yeah, I think it's going to probably be pretty quiet over the next 10 days. Some teams are going to take care of you guys in-house. And yeah, once February rolls around, free agency, a few things will happen. I just want to I think this is one thing we learned last year, not to get too ahead of things when it comes to free agency. Because there was a player who for 100 days was a free agent, who was on the couch. And nobody had any interest in him. And then it wasn't until Chad Kelly got suspended that Nick Arbuckle got his chance. And the next thing you knew, he's starting in the Grey Cup, and he's the Grey Cup MVP. So, yeah, free agency, there's going to be some familiar names. There's going to be some movement. There's going to be some overpays, no doubt. But I would also just keep something else in mind, that come training camp, there's going to be injuries. There's going to be some stuff that's going to go on with teams, suspensions, no-shows, last-minute retirements. Dudes just don't want to do it anymore. And there may be some players who may get signed in May that could make a real impact on football teams. So don't get too caught up on just what happens in February, because some signings right before training camp or during training camp could make an impact on a team, just like Nick Arbuckle did for the Argos last year.
Right on. We took a little extra of your time today. Appreciate it. Somebody on the text line's thinking that it's ironic you're wearing a Minnesota T-shirt. Speaking of teams that have been cursed for the last 60 years.
That's right. Michael set this thing on fire just for something to do. Just to stay warm.
Unless it says Cousins on the back, you can't do that.
Right. I'd never do anything like that.
See ya, Arash.
All right, Arash.
Arash, Madani, Coast to Coast for Brian Gawley, Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Gawley at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533. Let's take a quick break. Come back. RP and I will dissect a few of those things. It'll hockey talk and a whole lot more. It's the Sportscage streaming at sportscage.com.
Croft Electric. You've probably heard of us because we've been around for over 27 years. We do commercial and residential work? Yes. We do permanent holiday lighting? Yes. We do cabins? Yes. And farms? Yes and yes. We're an authorized Generac generator dealer. We are a full-service electrical company with the experience and the people to service all of your electrical needs. We are Croft Electric. We will be here when you need us. Do it right, do it once. Follow us on all social and call 306-586-1333 to book.
Meet your new favorite shade of green. At Nick Service, we offer the Fendt 500 Vario Series tractor that's tailor-made for your farm. Get better stability, ease of use, and comfort with one tractor. Whether you're feeding, tilling, baling, or hauling, this series is built for your farm. Experience up to 163 horsepower with this multi-purpose tractor. Visit Nick Service in Emerald Park or go to nickservice.com to get a quote on the Fendt 500 Vario Series.
Clear your calendar for Manitoba Egg Days, happening January 21st through 23rd at the Keystone Centre in Brandon. This year, you can take in over 550 exhibitors, including the new Produced on the Prairies Market. And with 34 entries in the Innovation Showcase and over 60 complimentary speakers, you won't want to miss this year's show. You can find all the info you need and purchase admission tickets at eggdays.com. Manitoba Egg Days, where the egg year begins.
It's been a long day. I don't want to cook. I'm going to surprise the family with a pizza night. I'll be a hero. My family might actually pick me up in celebration and carry me around the kitchen, and they'll chant my name, and I'll be celebrated until the end of time when I...
This isn't Western pizza. I thought you loved us.
Don't pizza fail. Get what they want. It's gotta be Western pizza. Big on toppings, big on taste.
And get it hot and get it fast. Western pizza.
All-new Sports Cage continues. You can watch our live stream at sportscage.com and always on the radio. Saskatchewan's voice for local sports, 620 CKRM.
We kind of did the clutch performer for Nick Service in Emerald Park earlier, but we're going to do it again right now. This is the time. Nick Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson, Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. Call 781-1077. We gave it to, from the Moose Jaw AAA Warriors, Ryan Gibbs, in the loss yesterday against the Saskatoon Blazers. He had 1 goal and 1 assist. But if you're watching the stream, this was the real clutch performer last night. This has been all over social media, too. Have you seen this, RP?
I'm about to.
This is this young lady driving members of the Ohio State Buckeyes football team after the game in the bowels of the stadium in Louisiana. She's driving a golf cart with that's like one of those 3-seated golf carts, and she hammers it right into the wall, breaks the axle. The players they're still in their gear. She's obviously transporting them for interviews. Yeah. They all get off and they go running. And this has gone by. There's Coach Ryan.
That's awesome.
Ryan, Day. Can you play it again? And she. There's the axle.
Straight snapped. There's no way you're saving that.
Oh, I like how you work at a golf course. We've all been on golf carts. I love how she just was don't worry about it. I'm just going to throw it in reverse.
Right. We'll just back up.
It doesn't move.
Yeah, and this is what everyone else is comparing it to, of course, the Austin Powers.
Yeah, the Austin. If you're watching this stream, it's a treat right now. So, clutch performer for Nick Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson, Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. Connor McDavid.
Love it.
Tonight I had no idea. Tonight it would have been Caps Oilers in Edmonton. And now he's sitting down. You like the 3 games?
Yeah. I mean, I was like everyone else in kind of the social media and hockey TV world. I thought it would probably land somewhere on 2 or in that neighborhood. 3 I was a hair surprised by, but 2 to 3 seems about right. I mean, you can argue whatever you want, the lead up and him being tackled and held and blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, you can't stand up and cross-check someone in the side of the neck, ear, head, face, whatever you want to specifically call it. So, it probably landed where it should. So
Connor Garland in that turtleneck. Isn't it, like we mentioned it yesterday and I was talking with Maz, and you've played a lot of hockey too.
You never wore a turtleneck.
He's that guy. There was always that kid on the other team looked weird in his gear, had something weird that you just want, and he'd just get under your skin.
Totally. I mean, we all played against them. Maybe one of us was a little bit one of those guys too when he played, but it's part of the game, and that's the flip of it, and I get it. Like, I find it interesting, Oilers media, Oilers fans, kind of how they're positioning. Well, if we would have protected Connor McDavid, protected him from what? What were you protecting him from? A holding call? Like, it wasn't like he was getting absolutely throttled there. And guess what? Like, I hate to break it to some of the hockey world out there. Like, Vancouver was trying to win that game. And the best player in the world is trying to get to the net through the slot in the dying seconds of a 1-goal game. And Connor Garland felt it was best for his team to just pin this guy here and let's just keep the best player in the world maybe away from getting the puck. So I think that portion is a little bit over-analyzed, overblown, but it is what it is.
If you take it down to maybe straight ground level minor hockey, let's say Bantam AA, which you coached a provincial championship last year, whatever. If you're playing against a Maddox Schultz, let's say, and you see that, now you got a little bit of a blueprint on how to get under his skin. And is he getting to the point in his career where he's maybe starting to lose it from time to time? I think that we could see more of this now. We could see the Czech Simons of the NHL just go and be an absolute pest.
Yeah, I mean, this is nothing new in the sense of, you're inside 10 seconds. Since the time I was 15 years old, we'd get told, you're playing in your defensive zone and you're inside 10 seconds, someone comes near with the puck, it's over. You get your hands on them, you stop them, you put them on the ice, whatever it is. Like, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, the other team's trying to win, but you're right. There's a little bit of a tell there from Connor's side, and is it going to change him? No, let's not pretend anything here. But yeah, the idea is that you got to get in his face and you got to rattle his cage a little bit, and that's what happens when you're a top end guy. You get a little bit extra attention.
I think Colson and Curtis pulled the Alexander Ovechkin comments about the game tonight in Edmonton.
It's a game, it's a passion. Obviously, I don't think he mentioned to do that, but it's sucks for him, good for us. He's not playing tonight, so we'll take it.
Classic Ovi.
Sucks for him. Good for yeah. I think how good it was Washington. Like Logan Thompson,
way over top. Yeah.
And did you hear this little nugget? They're the only team that doesn't have players going to the Four Nations Cup.
Oh, really? Some extra rest and
Carlson
should be. That's amazing. Yeah, I didn't know that, but now that you say, that for sure.
Thompson should be. Tom Wilson was maybe close.
Right. Yeah, he would have been. Yeah, he would have definitely been in that mix there with Canada. But just going back to the McDavid specifically, like one of the things that I do give the Oilers credit for is I thought they as a team handled it really well. None of the complaining immediately kind of came out. I thought their coach handled it really well after the game. I thought Draisaitl handled it really well. It's a tight game. It's passionate. Here's what we're out there. They're trying to win. We're trying to win. It is what it is type of thing. I saw Corey Perry comment, I think today about it, that we need to protect our stars, and they do for Mahomes and LeBron and these other guys. But again, what protect them how? He's not allowed to get a holding call on him. So that part I didn't like, but I give the Oilers credit. They took it head on. They didn't come out right away and put it on the refs or anything like that. It was a fact that it was part of the game, and Vancouver's doing what they can to win, and the Oilers are emotional, and unfortunately for the Bleeding Hearts, sometimes that happens.
That's funny because you said the media was out there, complaining about it, and if you're Edmonton media, you live and die with that team, just like we are with the Riders. Yep. But the one thing I did see was the rumor this morning. I think it was Ryan Rashog who kind of squashed it. Friend of the show. He said that there was out there this morning that McDavid's thinking about scaling back his involvement in NHL appearances and all this. And it's like, really? Is he? No, he's not. No, he's still Connor McDavid.
It's part of the game. It really is. And that's, to me, that's what makes Connor also really good is he's has a quiet demeanor, but at the same time, he's uber competitive. And I guarantee his engine's running hot in games just like everyone else, but you just don't see that side of him come out so much. But I always make cracks, too, of I wonder if all these same people asking to protect the Stars and complain about Connor, were they complaining when Austin Matthews took his cross-checking suspension? So it goes around. That's what makes these guys special players, is they're ultra competitive.
Have you watched the Golf League?
Yeah, for 20 minutes.
Did you?
Yeah.
I feel like, it is a little bit long.
It's It's so awesome for the first 15, and then you're watching guys play simulator golf.
It's back on tonight. It's Tuesday. It's the Golf League. Yeah, it's indoor simulator golf, but with kind of a real greenish.
Right. That's what's interesting, though, too, is they actually hit off real grass.
Yeah.
And then moving to that green it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to go and experience it and play it, but to watch it for 2-3 hours, whatever it is, it kind of could go away. But
on the heels of that, some of the best simulators in the area are at the Royal Regina Golf Course. We got 2 hours of golf simulator style at the Royal Regina to give away in the next half hour. 936-6262. Again, if people have never heard, what makes the Royals sim so great?
Yeah, a smaller atmosphere. There's 4 of them in there, right in our dining room. So great atmosphere, opportunity to have food and drink, socialize with your friends, lots of space around it from that side. Our technology, 4K technology, great graphics. Over 1,000 courses to choose from. Essentially, you name the course, it's on the system, and it's the most real, ball analyzation from it. So the real shot making. You're a high slice guy. You go in there, you're going to hit a high slice. You're a power draw guy. You're going to go in there and hit a power draw. So very, very realistic from that side.
936-6262. Colson will calculate things here in the next half hour if you want to go play some golf at the Royal Regina. Quick break. It is the Sportscage streaming at sportscage.com.
Been there, done that. We get it. And we've got something great for you. The Great Bin Giveaway on 620 CKRM. We're giving you the chance to win a 100-ton fertilizer bin from Core Grain. All you have to do is be listening to find out which sponsor locations you can enter at, all across southern Saskatchewan. You'll also have some chances to qualify during Saskag Today with Ryan Young. The grand prize draw will take place at Ag in Motion this July. Don't miss out on your chance to have a shot at the Great Bin Giveaway on 620 CKRM.
0% financing or instant discount. The decision is yours to make at Future Ford in Melville. Right now, you can get into a brand new 2024 Ford F-150 and get 0% financing up to 72 months or get $8,000 off the price. Plus, as a bonus from Future Ford, they're throwing in free oil changes. If a new truck doesn't fit your lifestyle or needs, no problem. Get 0% financing for up to 60 months on select Escape, Bronco Sport, Mustang Mach-E, and more. Check out their website, futureford.ca, and see their great selection today. The future is Future Ford in Melville.
The Saskatchewan Snowmobile Association would like to remind you to be safe this winter. Proper snowmobile clothing, including gloves, boots, and helmets, should be worn at all times. Also, please remember to register your sleds. Registration fees go to the clubs to help cover grooming and maintenance costs. And always respect private property. Off-trail riding on private lands without permission is trespassing. And finally, remember, speed, drugs, and alcohol kill. Never ride impaired. For more info or to take the snowmobile safety course, visit sasksnow.com.
Olympic Buildings is looking for post-frame building crews to construct their post-frame buildings. This can be from any part of the province, and they'll pay better than industry average. To talk about getting your company to construct their buildings, visit olympic-buildings.ca.
The all-new Sports Cage. Watch our live stream at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
We are going to get to the SJHL report in a bit here with Benny Walchuk. We'll touch on the Estevan coaching change, amongst other things. Regina Pats, RP, are in Medicine Hat tonight. It can be heard here on 620 CKRM, 6:30 pregame show. It's a young Regina Pats, scrappy team, and
they're playing hard. They're competing. I've watched them a few times over the last couple of weeks when lots of people have them down and out, and they play hard.
It's just such a test to go, and it's like these. You're going Medicine Hat, you're just Calgary, then you're going Medicine Hat, then you're going Lethbridge, and these teams are built to win the championship now and make it to the Memorial Cup, and you're like 16, and you're like, but what else do you do? You know, Brad Harris, just you got to go play.
Yeah, that's tough sledding for any team to come through Calgary, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge. There's not a team in the league that's going to dance through that. So they'll go play hard, though. Brad's got them playing hard, and they'll go in there and give it their best effort.
SJHL tonight, when we get to the report, we'll talk about it with Benny. There's 3 games on tap. And then AAA in Swift Current, the Regina Pat Canadians are in Swift to take on the Legionnaires. The Pats are 4 points up on the Legion in the standing. Last night, it was the Saskatoon Blazers. 5-3 over first place Moose Jaw. Moose Jaw 35 shots on goal, so the Blazers goaltender did a job. Like I said earlier, Ryan Gibbs 1-1. Canadian teams in action in the NHL. Caps are in Edmonton. Vancouver welcomes Buffalo. Montreal plays host to Tampa Bay. Ottawa travels in Manhattan to take on the Rangers. It is time to talk Junior A hockey with our resident expert from the Garlic Belt, Melville area, Benny Walchuk.
Time now for the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League report on the all-new Sportscage. The SJHL report is brought to you by Southie Mainline, the Mainline Automotive Group's newest king of trucks. Southie Mainline, just 30 minutes north of Regina. Worth the drive, every time. Guaranteed.
It is SJHL report time. So the Mainline Chrysler, like the big voice said, you can save up to $19,000 right now on 2024 heavy duties. Plus, they have those 2024 Jeep Compasses starting at $34,945. Worth the drive every time. Southeast Saskatchewan, the new king of trucks, Southie Mainline Chrysler. Benny, Maz and I talked about it yesterday. Let's start with Estevan. I don't know how much you can say, how much anyone can say, how much anyone knows. Jason Tatarnik out there. They're got a new bench boss.
Yeah, it was the timing might have been surprising a little bit, just the time of year. I know they're at 9 games out of a playoff spot, or 9 points out of a playoff spot, but it's one of those things. First off, Jason did a lot of good things for the Estevan organization, a lot of successful seasons they had, made the playoffs each and every year, and they brought them their first league title since 1999 back in 2022. But it's one of those things, maybe just a different voice, maybe just a different person, maybe player, maybe you lost the dressing room a little bit. Who knows what behind the scenes is actually for truth. But nonetheless, it's going to be a good opportunity for Drew Kosher. Of course, Drew is around Regina. He's coached with the Pilot Butte Storm of the PJHL for a number of years, been an assistant coach the last few years, and he's been around the hockey world. He's a young guy, and he has a chance now to maybe kind of showcase himself here in the second half. So it's one of those things. Sometimes it happens in junior hockey when you need a different voice, and maybe this is what the Estevan Bruins need, and that's what the board thought here in the second half.
Coach running the bench in Estevan. Good luck to Coach. Steals hockey logos for hats, but he's a good dude. Good dude. That's an inside joke between him and I. Hey, well, how about those Flin Flon Bombers? Right? What is it? Points in 21 or some games. Or like, look at their record. Like they're 19-0-1-1 in their last 20 or last 21. That's a heater.
Yeah, it is. And then you talked about Melford Mustangs. We talked about each and every week, but you look at that now, this Flin Flon team only 8 points back of Melford for top spots in the division, but also the entire SJHL. So a team that just keeps on getting points. It's always tough to play up there. Kinnersley showed how tough it is going empty there in the weekend series on the weekend, but just getting good goaltending from Matthew Keeper, who still hasn't had a regulation loss between the pipes, getting some timely scoring and just doing what they do and providing big time offense there up north. They're going to have a big stretch here. They start a 4 games in 5 nights trip here tonight in Melville before they take on Notre Dame, Weyburn, and Estevan here. So maybe the schedule has been a little bit weaker for them or lighter for them, as you can say here in the start of January, but it's going to get a whole lot tougher here for the Bombers this week.
Kenora, Saskatchewan. Can we touch on Kenora, Saskatchewan for a bit? What a community. Like if I don't know that it's a community that I'd move to. Like talk about hospitable. The funny thing is, I didn't even go in the rink. I was just hung out in the curling rink. It was so much fun. That's where the event was. But they had a great week, hockey day in Saskatchewan, everything there. Notre Dame Hounds get a little upset victory over the Terriers. Awesome all around, eh, Benny? I don't know what you heard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, first touch on hockey day in Saskatchewan. Hats off to Stacy and her crew for it's a long grind. It's not just a hockey day; it's like a hockey day week. There's a lot of hockey week in Saskatchewan. They start on Tuesday. They have events going on all week with hockey games. Of course, they had their wing night, their alumni game Thursday, the banquet, and then games to wrap up the weekend. So hats off to them. Hopefully, they raise tons of money for their project once you want to build the new arena. But Notre Dame Hounds, and I know talking to Emery Olaustin, the head coach and general manager of the Orkton Terriers, he just talked about playing a junior hockey game in a shoebox. That's how small it felt for them in Kenora. I think their total shots are over 110 shots combined between the two teams, so which is unheard of. You talk about those maybe in Laurent sometimes, but not that 56 to 58 or whatever the shots were. So it was a tough goal, but hats off to the Notre Dame Hounds. They came in, scored 4 unanswered goals in the third period, got some bounces maybe in that shoebox arena. But Yorkton Terriers, I know it's one of those things. They've lost 5 of the last 6 right now, so a little bit of a stumble for them. But maybe this is the adversity they need to face here before they get into the stretch run here in February and March. So it's a tough break, but the Terriers have a chance to rebound here this weekend. But hats off to Notre Dame. They got points in, I think 5 or 6 here to start 2025. So a team that's supposed to be rebuilding and very young, they're definitely being a tough out for any team. You talked about Flin Flon starting their road trip in Melville tonight.
see how that goes for them. Also this evening, Notre Dame is in Weyburn, just down the road there, as well as Humboldt and Nipawin tonight as well. Okay, so games of the week. Worth the drive every time. Southie Mainline Chrysler style. I know. Do you want me to tell you which one I got circled?
Sure.
Flin Flon and Weyburn. Friday night, 7 o'clock. Let's go. Hot to go, as Curtis Gammon would say. What about you?
Yeah, I like that one. Of course, Yorkton plays Weyburn on Saturday again. That's going to be a good showdown in Yorkton. Melville's got a couple of games against Battleford this week. They're around each other in the standings. If the Millionaires want to creep back up even more, they have a chance to try to catch Battleford. But yeah, I like your choice, Shink, and having Flin Flon and Weyburn. It's going to be kind of in the middle of their road trip for the Bombers there, and good chance for them to take some points. Weyburn, who's playing some pretty good hockey, they've been outstanding. They had a tough little lull in Melville on Friday nights against the Millionaires, but Weyburn's been one of the hottest teams, so that's going to be definitely worth the drive there this weekend.
And I know it's the SJHL report, but what are you hearing now that senior provincial brackets have been released up in your area there with the senior release?
Yeah, exactly. We got a few teams going. Of course, Kenora is going to provincials. They got Carnduff in round one. Kenora's got a very good team.
Did we talk about that? Did people want to talk about that Friday night? It was awesome. Some inside baseball here and there. It was great.
Yeah, you got Theodore boys. They're combining with Belcaris to take on the Round Lake Bears, which should be an exciting with the games taking place in Fort Capel at the Fort Rec Center, then down at the Chief Denton George Memorial Multiplex in Ochapowace. You got Rocanville guys, a few of the guys going with Redvers, a couple of guys going with Mooseman. It should be entertaining provincials there. Then you got the Langenberg guys going. They're adding some guys from Rocanville as well. So it's kind of a little bit of mix and match here around the area, but all the talk has been about Foam Lake. Foam Lake Flyers, they've been outstanding this season. I had a chance to broadcast their games each and every year for the last 5 years. They have hopefully get another broadcast here soon, which I'm sure they will going here to the stretch run, but they have an outstanding team. I always bug them. Les and company there in Foam Lake, you have to go A. You have to go A, but they want to win a banner. Biggest thing is they want to bring a banner back to Foam Lake, and it's gonna be a battle for them. I know a lot of people are picking them right now, but it's still be a grind. Provincials is a grind. You're playing league, you're playing provincials, and that league is so tough there in the Long Lake. So it's an exciting time here in this area, and a lot of the older crew here in the East Central Saskatchewan are kind of fitting in their schedules what senior games are going to catch, because there's a lot of them happening here in the next month or so.
That's right. They're going to have to tune in. If they don't have headphones, we found out you can go to the Red Apple in Kenora and get a nice 3-pack of headphones, as Brandon found out. Always fun. Benny, travel safe, and we will catch up again next week for the SJHL report.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Right on. It is brought to you by Southie Mainline Chrysler, the new king of trucks in Southeast Saskatchewan. Worth the drive every time, guaranteed. Farewell to 2024. Hello to massive savings. Up to $25,000 off remaining 2024 inventory. Worth the drive every time, like I said, guaranteed. Southie Mainline Chrysler. Let's take a quick one here. Streaming, sportscage.com. And as always, on the home of sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
then I can see it. Then that's what happens. That's why consistency in officiating is so important. Because if the penalty is called, then okay, that was the punishment for the crime, and now you've got a 2-minute power play to beat the other team.
I like it.
If there's no penalty called, and you run our goalie, I'll give you the warning. I'll give you the heads up. It's happening. It's happening. I'm telling you.
Glen Suitor.
And it probably happens on this shift.
Glen Suitor plays for keeps, and we're talking beer league hockey out there on the West Coast. Glenn, thanks so much today, and we will have another go-around on Thursday.
Sounds good, guys.
Right on. Glen Suitor joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Western Pizza, where you can get free delivery on orders over $25. Western Pizza Express. Quick break here on the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM.
Act fast when wildlife damage happens. Don't wait. Delaying may impact your claim. All Saskatchewan producers may be eligible to receive funding for both preventative measures and wildlife damage concerns. To learn more about wildlife damage prevention and compensation options, contact your local SCIC office or call 1-888-935-0000. SCIC. Here at every turn.
Hello there, this is George Leith, Managing Partner at Harvard Media. I'm proud to announce that SaskToday.ca is now under local Saskatchewan ownership. Sask Today's team of local journalists are on the ground in communities across the province. We focus on local topics that matter to you. Community news, agriculture, business commentary, local sports in our all-new Sports Cage, and more. Visit and bookmark SaskToday.ca and sign up for our daily news digest. SaskToday.ca. From Harvard Media, everywhere.
It's time to turn up the heat on trades at Crestview. For a limited time, get a $2,500 trade-in bonus on any trade-in. We're going to work to get you the same or similar payment to what you got right now. And we got something for everybody. Over 200 brand new vehicles, Jeeps, Rams, Caravans, and so much more. Plus, Capital's 100K giveaway is back in Crestview. Check out capital100k.ca for your chance to win. We're turning up the heat on trades at Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Proud member of the Capital Automotive Group.
We want your business on board for the Harvard Media online auction. It's easy. All you've got to do is provide items like gift cards, experiences, services, or whatever cool product you have. And in exchange, we'll give you a world-class marketing campaign. No entry fee or cash outlay. Just a good old trade deal. That hammer could be coming down for you. Just hit up harvardmedia.com and join in on all the excitement. Terms and conditions apply.
The all-new Sports Cage is live streaming from our Century Studios in downtown Regina. Watch now at sportscage.com. Be part of the show by texting 306-936-6262. 620 CKRM.
It's Taco Boat Tuesdays at the Canadian Brew House. You can get the OG beef, chicken, fish, or Donair taco $3.49. $2 off tankards of Corona. Margarita specials, tequila specials, everything Mexico at the Canadian Brew House. 2 locations in Regina and 1 in Moose Jaw. NHL this evening, we talked about how Connor McDavid, obviously 3-game suspensions. You said you agreed with that?
Yeah, I'm there. 2 or 3. 2 I thought was probably where it was going to land. But yeah, 2 3s right there.
Washington Capitals are in Edmonton this evening. Other Canadian teams in action. Vancouver welcomes Buffalo. Montreal plays host to Tampa Bay. Ottawa at the Rangers. You can hear our NHL expert every Monday and Wednesday here on the Sports Cage. Eric Francis joins us for Southie Mainline Chrysler, the new king of trucks in Southie, Saskatchewan. Worth the drive every time, where right now they're having the farewell to 2024 deals. Save up to $25,000 off remaining 2024 inventory. I hit a future, or didn't hit a future bet. I got a future bet on the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Ooh.
And it's still, right, it's still good. It
like a while ago, or just
14 plus 1,400. Like, no, this is like 2-3 weeks ago. I can go check it out right now. Let me go to Cool Bet and see what the futures are for the Stanley Cup or for the Western Conference. Okay, Stanley Cup right now. Guess who the favorite is?
Not Toronto.
Plus 650 is
Florida?
Edmonton.
Ugh.
Then followed by Carolina, then Florida, then Dallas, then New Jersey, Toronto, then Colorado, Vegas. Washington's plus 1,400, and the Jets are plus 1,500.
So the two statistically best teams in the NHL, Washington and Winnipeg right now.
Yeah.
Do I think Washington's in that position?
No. I'd throw a few rubles on the Jets.
Yep.
I did last year too. They had a tough first round.
Yeah, big,
opponent.
good goaltending. They could definitely ride that wave through a few and
emotional city.
Yep.
Dude, they can get 2 rounds.
Yep.
They could get 2 rounds in when. Hey, and I'm not. I root for the Jets for some reason. I'm rooting for Calgary to make it. I just find it weird that the Golden Knights are down there. They are such a deep team.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Dallas rode that bus last year. Didn't really work out for me. You know what team that surprised me that I thought would have a better year so far? Just because, and they got capital. Man, do they have draft picks? Do they got prospects? Former Arizona Coyotes, the Utah Hockey Club. They've kind of underachieved in my mind.
Yeah, they maybe still have a little bit of that Phoenix stink on them, maybe. I don't know. But it's been an interesting move for them and opening up. Have you followed much about how they open up their arena? They have the limited view or almost no view seats, and they're selling them for $10, and they're selling out. So you can get into the stadium, and at least you see the atmosphere, but you don't even see one of the nets.
That's how Phoenix was when they first came out of America West.
Right,
it used to hang over, so you would have to. It was an awful kind of screen too back then. So you'd only get to see from the blue line down to the far end.
Right.
But they sold them for like $7. It was packed. Atmosphere means so much.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know if any hockey ticket in the province of Saskatchewan should be over $15.
Yeah, we could go down a whole new path. I'm a volume guy. I think that I would rather sell my rink out and make tickets a little bit less than try to get a premium off a ticket and have a third full, because nobody wants to play in it. And then that drives people to go too, right? I don't want to go to a place that's just has no life, no atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
The fans are part of the entertainment. It's part of the experience. So full barn is the way to look at it at all times.
Remember when you were playing as a kid? We both played junior hockey, and it, like, even back to midget or bantam, when it, like, the rink was full, it was just so much better.
Oh yeah,
to play in front. Like, I don't get it. Like, I talk to Rome's once in a while. I'm like, oh, it was a big crowd at the old Richie tonight, right? 2 Regina teams are going at it. It's almost like he doesn't even care. He doesn't even notice. And like, that would have been one of the first things I would have come out and saw.
Oh yeah, it's awesome, and that's what you want to be around it. And it, like we say, it adds to the energy of the game. And I remember one night I played playing junior. We played in Billings, and their rink was like 5,000-6,000 people, sold out, absolutely packed. It was pizza night, guaranteed win night. If they win, everyone in the crowd gets a small individual pizza from whatever sponsor, and they pumped us 6-0. So everyone got a free pie, courtesy of my junior team.
A little free zaw on the evening. Speaking of junior hockey, the Pats are in Medicine Hat tonight. Games right here on 620 CKRM. 7:30 pregame show. Brandon's in Kelowna, Vancouver at Seattle. All of our Western Hockey League reports are brought to you by Extreme Hockey, where the Yeti sale continues and the Goldie sale continues at Extreme Hockey. Will you follow the Western Hockey League playoffs closely? Because I was kind of looking at I'm
more interested in the bottom end of the Western Hockey League standings right now, to be dead honest with you.
Who ends up with Maddox?
We maybe don't need to go down that path right now, but I definitely am watching that end more than I'm watching the top. But yeah, I mean, as a hockey guy, I'll follow it really close. I like it. Unfortunately, the season's going to come to a close for our close teams, so there won't be any playoff hockey real close to here. But yeah, we'll follow it for sure and see who goes. It's going to be great. There's going to be some matchups that are going to be absolutely incredible in both conferences. Some of the American teams and those Western, out there, maybe that local people aren't quite as knowledgeable on. Everett's obviously just incredible right now, but there'll be some of those matchups out there that are really, really good. And then obviously the teams we were just talking about earlier, like eventually the Calgarys and Medicine Hats and Lethbridges, they're all going to have to play each other. So there's going to be a couple series there that are going to be absolutely incredible.
Who plays early?
Right.
Yep. And then have you seen Berkeley Catton and Andrew Cristall are now in Spokane? Have you seen some of the highlights of the goals they're scoring?
Yeah, like I came back a couple of times and played adult safe when I would consider myself a pretty decent player. I didn't have 7-point nights. It's absolutely insane what they've been putting up on some of these nights, and not against doormats. Like they put up some good numbers against some good teams. So that's the thing. I don't know if it's different this year, Barney. I don't know if it's because we're more tapped in. The Western League feels different this year. There's superstardom in it. There's tons of storylines. The changes that were made at the deadline were like incredible, over the top. The quality of guys moving, the amount of assets that moved within those trades, it's absolutely deadly, and it's going to be so cool coming down the stretch here and into the playoffs.
It's going to make a guy want to watch, like buy the WHL app if you don't have it, or if you got an IPTV, or in luck, but to watch some of these matchups. And then, so how it works, so the East Division teams, so who's like, I hope Brandon makes it in, right? Just find a way to get in. Prince Albert Raiders, just get in. And then the Saskatoon Blades, they're all in playoff spots right now. So that the winner of the East gets the second seed,
right,
in the first round,
right.
So like if playoffs started, I think how it works right now, Saskatoon would end up playing the Swift Current Broncos.
There you go.
Yeah, and you hope for the community of Swift.
Well, and it's just going to be how it jockeys around is going to be so interesting, because one spot here or there, and some of the spots in the standings are so tight where a win here or there are going to move you from 6th, 5th, 4th, and it could mean that your opponent is completely different.
Yeah, you can slow play a few things, maybe.
Exactly.
Hey, why are you guys playing this kid from Midget in net
right.
tonight? Yeah, it'll be good.
Have you ever tanked for like the 6th playoff seeding? We're not going to win anymore. We want to lock into 6th.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. Like I said, Regina Pats back in action tonight in Medicine Hat, 7:30 here on 620 CKRM. Time for a quick break. The stream's back. We're streaming at sportscage.com and on the home of the Regina Pats, 620 CKRM.
620 CKRM is your home to country's greatest hits and the 90s at 9. One full hour featuring the biggest hits of the 90s. Garth, Reba, Alan, Shania, George, and so much more. No cassette tape or CDs required, and 90s mullets are optional. 90s at 9 for the town of Wolseley and the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling wants you to ignore their water heaters. Don't think about it. Don't worry about it. Because when you rent your water heater from Bronco, they take care of all the maintenance. Their professional staff will come to your home, handle the service at no additional charge, and then you're free to think about anything you want while you take a nice, long, hot shower. Water heater and water softener rentals from Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Call 781-2090 or visit broncoplumbing.com. They'll treat you right.
Pizza! Where's it from?
kids. It's not delivery. It's...
No, it's definitely delivery. It's from Western Pizza. Mama's had a long day, so she ordered online, poured a glass of Happy, put her feet up, and waited for the doorbell. There's also Caesar salad, lasagna, chicken wings. Oh, I got lots, so we can have the leftovers tomorrow and the next day. Western Pizza. Big on toppings, big on taste, big on convenience. Get it delivered today.
Degelman Industries has been engineering tough, high-performance equipment for 60 years. See for yourself with our industry-leading Degelman bulldozer blades. Degelman engineers, designs, and individually builds all bulldozer tractor fit-ups to ensure proper mounting locations are the best spot to push from, protecting your tractor investment. Visit the Build-A-Blade feature on Degelman.com for more information. Degelman, engineered tough.
All-new Sportscage continues. You can watch our live stream at sportscage.com and always on the radio. Saskatchewan's voice for local sports, 620 CKRM.
We gave away 2 hours of simulator golf to the Royal Regina Golf Course earlier. Thanks to everyone who played along. Colson picked the winner on his wheel of winning. That's the Sims. There's 4 of them at the Royal. You were telling that the technology is awesome. It's funny because the Golf League that is on again tonight, it is the New York Golf Club against Atlanta Drive. Who's playing in that? If we go to match info here, it's Matt Fitzpatrick, Ricky Fowler, and Cam Young against Patrick Catley, who seems like he has the personality of that Easton Aluminum in the back of me here. Billy Horschel and Justin Thomas. So we were talking about this earlier, how if you haven't watched it, watch it for a few minutes for sure.
It's cool. It's cool to see. Yeah.
You might get into it. They hit off real ground. Who was it last week? Somebody hit. You did have some video on this.
Kisner.
He chunked it
out of the sand trap.
It's bladed it.
Bladed it and just smashed into the into the stick. So
then there was someone that hit off had to place it in the rough, and then they kind of tried to go hybrid out of the rough or whatever, and they chunked it.
Oh.
And it was that screen is massive. Like if you haven't watched it, it'd be like basically hitting into a movie screen at Cineplex Odeon.
Yep. Yeah. Maybe more the IMAX.
Yeah.
Like in reality, because you're 20 yards away from it from the closer one, and it's cool to see if you haven't seen it at all. It's worth kind of checking out for a little while, and
it's like a little theater.
Yeah,
it'd be like the Elgar Peterson Arena in Humboldt, and people are watching and people are boozing and hooting and hollering. They got music playing in the background. I don't know what the contract is, how many years they're going for. It made me want to go play sim golf. Is what I was getting at.
Yeah. Well, I know a place.
Yeah. We do have more to give away the next time you're on passes, but then it just needs to be a little tighter. Like you got me for maybe an hour.
Yeah, you almost wonder if a 9-hole event isn't kind of where it's at, just because it does get repetitive, and once you kind of watch 2, 3, 4 holes, it just is the same. The elements don't really change, but it's cool to see. There's no doubt, and I didn't even realize it until like the 4th hole, that they were actually hitting off real grass, because I saw a big divot when a guy was putting his ball down. I'm like, oh, someone took a chunk out of the mat. Yeah. And I'm like, that's real grass. So
in the first,
interesting.
I think it was the first week, and they were talking about it last week because Tiger played last week. It's kind of Tiger and Rory's brainchild.
Yeah.
They came up with that because of the green, and I forget, Harry said how many ways they can shift it and move it. It's pretty wild. You can chip off it.
Right.
So if you got a long putt and you want to try and stop it, because the green is synthetic.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not real. And I was like, wow, that kind of makes cool. The other thing too is if you got any of these guys with no personality, like last week, Homa, Kisner, and Woods got absolutely cooked.
Yeah.
But they were having fun. Like Homa and actually Kisner, I got new respect for him. He's a pretty funny dude. If you got any kind of guys that don't have personality, they could make for a long
tough
night.
The one thing that I noticed about it real quick was it was Tiger. The first one was like 101 yards out, and he pumped it about 130 right over the graphic, took it right over the back of the green into the water or whatever. So there's definitely a learning curve to it.
Distance.
It's not real golf, and these are guys that if they're 100 yards away, they're probably mad if they're 10 feet away after, right? So that part's interesting of just seeing how they adjust over the next, over the course of this, and then them jumping onto tour and playing in between. Will be interesting to see what they how they feel about that.
I was happy to see that Tiger's body held up. Like it's not that strenuous. You're not walking hills. You're not doing all that. But yeah, they're usually so dialed from 100.
Oh yeah,
it'd be like you and I trying to hit that garbage over there, and he was way over. Too much mustard. Back to the Sims at the Royal Regina. How many courses? 1,000?
Yeah,
over 1,000.
Yeah.
We played. I was with Donnie and Davey Lowe a couple weeks ago. We played Augusta.
Yeah,
and it was bang on. I was in the pine straw. Like, I was finding some places of that golf course that I don't even think people knew existed. But yeah, it was great. Just hitting that dog leg and then having to hit that par 3 and the long par 4. It was really cool. What's your favorite course that you?
Yeah, Augusta, as it's known on the game, Georgia Golf Club, copyright issues. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely the most popular. People come in and obviously want to play that because it's tough to get to. I've played Torrey Pines in real life, so it's fun to go. And
it's a tough track in real life.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's legit.
I played South, so it's a cool one for me to go and play on there. But there's awesome like Deer Valley's on there. It's so cool to be able to have some local places and that as well, and then your kind of dream courses. So yeah, it's fun there. We've got there's an accessible course, and of course with it just being there, you can play any course you want ability wise, and have a lot of fun with it.
You have pints and food, and it's all right there. Thanks again for coming in, bud.
Thanks for having me. Enjoy it.
That's it. Colson Curtis, thanks so much. Maz has you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Pats Hockey coming up at 7:30. We'll talk to you on Thursday.
It's Grow Time, Canada's Farm Show Regina, Saskatchewan, presented by Viterra, the premier event for farmers, agribusiness professionals, exhibitors, and sponsors, happening March 18th to 20th, 2025. Featuring a vast trade show with hundreds of companies with special